I'm that girl who is feeling super cheeky today, and I'm going to film myself giving love to myself. Oh, hello, water that I have loved before. I'm going to thank this water again and love this water again for everything it is going to give me and my body, because I know it is fantastic. It is so healing for me. It is so helping me. It super raises my frequency vibrations. It is like what I used to assume like a big shot of caffeine does for me, or a big sugary drink. This just plain water infused with my attention and my love and support and gratitude is going to keep me strong in my mindset to know that I have got the high frequency to be able to overcome any density and be able to recognize it. And this is, I think, a really important thing for us, to recognize what is dense and to recognize what is a non-dense situation. I know we love our labels, and some could say it's those negative energy thoughts, or it could be a negative attachment, or it could be bad or evil, or whatever we love to label. That is fine, but just check, are even our labels serving us? We've heard many times in sessions that we must drop all that no longer serves us, including all who no longer serve us. And so we've all been partial to loving influences or loving devices or materialism or something that's all kind of distracted us from finding out who we are, reminding ourselves that we need to totally empower, trust, and love ourselves before getting confused and distracted by others. And I'm hoping that just by us looking at our own behaviors, looking at our own belief systems, and looking at all of the things that we trust from outside influences, that we can just go and do a self-check. Is this in alignment with me? Does this feel right? And whatever is, some people say, oh, if it doesn't resonate with you, dump it, drop it, run away. Let's just explore it and see, why does it not resonate with us? And so the session today, they gave me the title, which is Know the Difference Between Judgment and Observation. And this, I feel, guys, they have so much things that they want to say to you. And I just sort of, in my process, I sort of do this work where I open myself up and say, what would you like today? And then they honestly give me this huge list of all these things. And then I'm like, well, okay, that sounds like 27 hours of a video. And so I asked them, what is the most appropriate? And so today they have come back and said judgment over observation, because they know you so well. And they also know that a majority of you are still confusing and judging yourselves for observating people and behaviors and situations. And so we all know to not judge, right? We've all heard this, don't judge others. Because what it truly does is it lowers our vibrations, it separates the situation. And as I was saying before, when something doesn't resonate with you, we're told to drop it and run and not explore and pack it. And I almost want to say, the things that don't resonate with you, let's just see what it is. Is it because it's fear-based information that you don't know whether it's true or false, and so it's just confusing? Remember that when we hear new information, it is confusing, and we instantly want to just reject it and throw it away. And so we have to be a bit more tolerant and so confident in ourselves to be open to other ideas, new concepts, just to see. It's kind of like a new flavor. You know how the tongue has different senses, so you put the tip of the tongue in, yeah, no, not for me. But then, as we mature, and as my children often show me, their tastes can change hourly. Something that is their favorite would be their most hatred dish forever, and how dare I think that they would love that. So this is the same with new information. Yes, we think, oh my gosh, it's bitter, it's scary. No, 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 I'm definitely not going to swallow that. And then it's almost like our teams, because we're all one, is sort of saying just mull it around in your tongue, see all of the senses and see where it lands. Because our first initial reaction is always going to be a knee-jerk reaction, especially with the big stuff. So what they're sort of saying is think about all the things that you have gone, no, it doesn't resonate with me, and dumped it. Can we safely go back and be able to look at what you thought originally didn't resonate with you and how is that feeling? Maybe your intuition was so spot on. It was absolutely the right thing to do because it was just ludicrous and it just was not your collective's information. Remember, we've all got different collectives, and the different collectives are here to experience different things. And so whoever is telling you this information could be quite true for their collective but not for yours, and so therefore that disconnect, the reason why you didn't resonate with it. But as Dolores would say, all information is fantastic, and we are wise to be open to all information, but not keep it as our own. Can you imagine someone listening to all of the collective's information and applying it as if it's their own? It is like listening to everyone's sessions and then applying it and trusting that it's your own. And so, I know we're all one. I know these things sort of sometimes sound like contradictions, but I know those people who are truly, genuinely wanting to expand their mindsets and mature in this work to be able to be the best for themselves, which then ultimately and naturally will be the best for others. They're trying through me to help. And so it seems like a lot of people are stuck because they are judging themselves for what they think is judging others. And ultimately, we know the difference between judging someone's behavior and really like having a negative thought, emotion. Ooh, yuck, who does she think she is? Blah, 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 blah. And we judge not just one thing, but the entire thing. We write off their whole existence because of the one thing that they may have done or the one thing that they keep doing. Now, an observation could be looking at them, seeing what they're doing and going, well, that's not my choice, but I can respect their choices. So I'm just observing what is going on there. And one step beyond that is what is their triggers to make their own choices that way. And so I know from a lot of the clients that I've had, they've been constantly asking about certain influences that may or may not resonate with them. And so there are some people that regularly get called up in sessions so the subconscious can answer it to help the clients, because they have true confusion of why does this person who seems really sweet and nice, but yet the information feels lacking and it doesn't resonate with me and blah, 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 blah. And so, I love this work so much because regardless of who the client is and who the SC is, they always can be able to observe the agenda and the behaviors and the actions of certain people for their whole work and their approach. And so we've asked many times about certain influences, and we've always got the same information, which is that because they haven't done enough of their own inner work to overcome their 3D life contracts, they're not privy to bigger information, or some of them even are privy to that bigger information, but they're super scared of how do you deliver this information? How do you talk about the future events without making people judge or go hysterical or go into fear? And when you can't find anyone else sharing this information that we're getting, because it's so big, it's so advanced, and it's so impactful, I had to go through this myself where I was like, are you kidding me? This information is too big for me. It's too much. I need help. I need support. I need to find someone who's also talking about this. And so in my QHHT practitioner world, I was searching for people to hear what everyone else was getting, because the information from many of my clients was pretty huge and pretty big. And I have to say pretty scary when I was not privy to the full information. when I was not seeing all the pieces of the puzzle, and when I first got introduced to this information, I did that knee-jerk reaction of, heck no. No, because that would impact me, and I don't like that. I think I can control my world. So that was me back then when I was starting, and this was over 2 years ago now. So I've been able to fully chew, tongue, taste all of the senses of all of this information, to be able to be forced to accept that I have asked so many times for this not to be true. I have asked so many times that could we save the planet, help the planet? Could we change this? This doesn't seem like this would be helping us, my client and myself, get very 3D with this. Remembering I had to make all the mistakes in my own sessions to learn and grow from them. And it's, you become very humble with the fact that our 3D minds are very 3D, and thank goodness we have the access to the subconsciouses and the higher dimensional beings who love us and who love us to use our free will to ask them those questions, so then they can give it to us in really comforting words. And so I think I've got off track, but anyway, and I do want these videos to be really short because I want just the impact of the messages, and that's it. And I know I can over explain things, but only because I feel like when they're giving me this information, I can see probably like a dozen different situations and scenarios, and I don't know which one is the best one to use. And so I want to be sort of general, so then when you go back and think about the times where you have felt bad because you have observed someone's bad behavior or choices, or reactions, that when we see other people doing choices that don't empower themselves and don't empower others, we feel bad as if we have done that ourselves, or that we're noticing this bad behavior from them, and so then we feel bad. And so it's interesting. It's like the teams are saying, sorry for the ramble, know the difference between just judging and lowering your vibration and lowering their vibrations with this judgment and this approach that you'd have on them with this sort of like negative disdain. And usually when people are judging, it's because you're comparing each other, and for whatever reason that you have as lack of love or confidence or something, you're judging and ridiculing that person through a place of not well balanced, that's for sure. And so, we've all done it. So, let's just see if we can move forward from judgment. So we understand that, but many people misconfuse that judgment for observations. And so you're not creating in your, you're not delusional, and you're not observing someone having interesting choices that don't empower them and others, and then feeling bad because you've noticed that. And the reality is, when we are observing people and their behaviors, sometimes it's really hard for us to acknowledge their reactions and their root cause of it. Obviously, it's inner work. If people are wanting to disempower others and themselves, that's screaming inner work. And so instead of us reacting to them not doing their inner work, we can come from a place of neutral and acceptance and see if we know them personally, how do we love them and support them through that? Because we all have been stuck one time or another, or currently now still choosing to take actions that don't empower us. And so whatever reason that is. And there was another thing about, if you're judging yourselves and feeling really bad about yourselves doing something new, then you will literally hold yourselves back. And so that is what stepping up and moving forward truly is. That whole sort of movement is stop judging yourselves before you even begin. I assume that if I tried to do a marathon, I would sweat, probably vomit, and be very unwell and be the slowest participant ever, where people at the end give me that slow clap where it's like, thank freaking time, we want to go home, lady. So anyway, but so I assume all of that, and I'm sure that's very much true. but to still go ahead and do it and surprise myself. Maybe I think, well, actually I should probably do some practice. And so anyway, that was a nonsense analogy, and we all know that. But the reality is, what I'm trying to say is, we judge ourselves before we even start a project. And then we add in all of these excuses why it's not going to be successful. And truly, we can't do everything perfect. And what success is may not be truly what we needed to do. So what is your definition of success? What is your definition of what you needed to go on that journey with that new project? Sorry, I feel like they're just trying to ram so much information through. So just see where you are judging yourselves and be able to unpack it. Is it a real fear, or is it just a knee-jerk reaction from something that you may have experienced in the past? This is a fantastic time for us to see our inner work and overcome it. And so knowing the difference between judging and observing people and ourselves is going to really help us. It feels like they're saying many people have judged others by through observations, and so they're like, there's another layer to it. You can observe someone's bad behavior, and then you can judge them for it. And so it's kind of like they are being bad. And so I think judgment, some form of that basic judgment, is they're actually not that bad, but because we blow it out of proportion and we see that one thing that they're doing is, we're judging them in their totality, not just for observing that one thing. And so observing someone do bad behavior through their own choices, and then judging them, and then us having a reaction of, casting, hate, I guess is a very strong word, but so it's just how we react to each other. We must be able to truly love each other and respect each other's journey, even those bad days that we have, or those bad situations or choices. Ultimately, when someone is making bad choices for themselves and disempowering themselves and others, do they really need our criticism? No, they probably need our love. Not to love them and support them and encourage them to continue on, but with our love, we should be able to give them and remind them that they have choices to make, better choices for themselves, which will empower them and empower others. If you can figure out an easy way to say this, please write it in the comments. I'm trying the best I can. So, in summary, see if we are still feeling bad for observing people's bad behaviors, because it's not truly our responsibility to feel bad of other people's choices. If we have judged them and ridiculed them or been a troll or whatever, this is our time to be able to realize that when we are hating on someone and criticizing someone, it doesn't empower us at all. It actually does add density to us, because we're judging someone, and it's really usually a reflection of our own inner work. So, gosh, I feel like they've just thrown heaps of stuff out there, and I trust that those people who have been holding on to the guilt of observing people and their bad behavior as judgment and feeling bad about themselves. So knowing the difference of if you're truly judging someone, observing someone's behavior, and knowing when we do truly love each other and accept what our choices are, but instead of just being that silent observer, judger, we must be able to connect in with each other and give us love. And then, have you thought about maybe not being a narcissist? Because the reason why you're a narcissist is because you still have inner work to do from a child. And, having that behavior is very scary, because it's a massive defense mechanism where you're constantly seeking love and support from others. But because you've got this defense mechanism, you can never actually feel the love and support of others. I mean, God, could you imagine saying that to a narcissist? They would not cope very well. But ultimately, we shouldn't be calling people narcissists because that's another label. And if we wanted to be truly true and honest with each other, you're a very hurt child who is acting out in an adult body. And so we know this. We've heard this so many times in sessions. And while it sometimes is easier to run to someone and complain about a narcissist, ultimately we're playing victim. We're playing victim to the narcissist who is already a victim. And so just because we didn't hurt the original hurt for the narcissist, we can see that they're coming from a very, very, very deep place of hurt and pain. So all we can truly do for each other is love them kindly, know the difference between empowering them and disempowering them and enabling them. Because I'm not saying enable all bad behavior. It's more like give them seeds and information and support to know that they can choose to do something different in their approaches. And when those narcissists are seeking attention, being those trolls, being judgmental of others, feeling jealous of others, feeling threatened of others, this is lashing out behavior, and we can all be hurt by those reactions when we choose to be hurt by those reactions. But when we want to stop and look at why they are reacting like this and why they have such ultimate bad antisocial behavior, is because they are from that deep hurting place. So we use our free will. We ask our teams to please give us guidance to be able to help love and support that person in the best way possible. And then we can ask even further, ask their own teams, please, I see my friend, she is hurting, she is judgmental, she is, all of these things, because I'm observing this behavior and it definitely is not serving her, and it's definitely holding her back. And so I can ask her own personal teams, please help me assist this. Because remember, we've all got our own guides, and often our collectives of our higher selves our subconsciouses are super busy, and they're doing everything for everyone that they can. But often when we use our free will to ask, can my subconscious, can their subconscious please meet in the middle and support us, because I really truly want to be of service. And this is when magic happens. This is when amazing things do occur, because you're getting the attention and you are showing, I'm not wanting to trigger them or harm them or hurt them. I'm wanting to love them. I'm wanting to nurture them. I'm wanting to support them. But in my 3D wisdom, I'm not always able to do the right thing or say the right thing. And so we just ask, and then trust that we're naturally going to be guided. Obviously, those people who have been hurt and traumatized through their childhood so profound, and they're very focused on their ways of life to be that narcissist, that hurt child. I mean, we could cry for that hurt child because you have no idea what they went through. It is heartbreaking, and it has broken them. So their behavior is from a broken place, a hurt place, the most isolating, dense place, and they don't have much joy. They may think that materialism does, or warlording over people, or controlling people, or manipulating people is their joy, but obviously we know that isn't the way that it works. But they're seeking false, empty attention. They could give themselves so much love. They could accept themselves so much. They could empower themselves so much. And this is the opportunity where we just need to ask for more support. So, I didn't realize they were going to pull out all of that. And I don't like the word narcissist because it's really truly judging them without giving them compassion. And so when we are observing people who are having those interesting choices that aren't empowering them, imagine the density, imagine the joy, the world must be so scary for them, because they're trapped in a trauma from a child's perspective or a young adult's perspective. And it's almost like when you're stuck in trauma, so you live in your life and you have that impact and that big trauma, it's like your maturity sort of pauses and you grow and your body grows, but you're stuck in this this is why lots of these people are very childlike, or they kind of can't mature or grow because they're just stunted. And I know that that is not judgment, I know that is observation, but they can't even see it themselves. And so this is why they have like unbalance with impulses and all this sort of stuff. So trust. We all wanted challenging lives to overcome them, and congratulations to those who have chosen to overcome them, and for that trauma to not define them, for that trauma to not break them. And so we've all had our own overcoming moments and experiences. So how did we get out of it? How did we overcome this? How did we realize that we were not going to let this trauma define us? In fact, it would actually empower us to be more strengthened, to be able to know we will never experience that again, because we've learned from it, we've grown from it, we've mastered it, if you will. So anyway, much love, my friends. I truly hope that for those of you who have been judging yourselves for observing other people's behaviors, it could even be like big politicians or something like that, we have to be really mindful of what we're focusing on. And when we're sending out density energy, because we are so big in our energy fields now, because we are light workers and we do work with a lot of energy, even if you don't know you are. And so when you are sending out this density, it's kind of like misusing our purpose here. And so don't go into guilt, more like just sort of see and observe your own times when you've done that. Because when we truly send out love, and when we truly send out support and epiphanies for everyone, and support, and truly get that they are worthy, truly get that they are loved, when we focus on that type of energy, that's when we're making the difference, and that's when we're truly being of service. And so please don't dump things that feel too heavy for you. We can still do fantastic work without, being attached to the person who is still very challenging. We can love them from a distance and keep ourselves safe, but we can still, with the knowledge that we know about them and their behaviors, we can still do profound things. And asking and using your free will with your teams is always going to be my recommendation. So love you guys. Have a fantastic day. Take care of yourselves. Love yourselves, and be able to love each other with true honesty and sincerity. And just step into. I feel like everyone who's listening is has got a really special role for humanity, and just being able to be mindful of the way that we approach people and situations. Love is the key, and basically, gosh, I could have just summarized all of that. Okay, much love. Bye.